out there? Welcome to the Word Hole Media presentation of Major League A-Holes Playoff Edition. I am MV fucking Pete.
Ryan, you are in the hole with Major League A-Holes, episode 175. It's been approximately 6 weeks since we did our last show, of which most of that time I've spent in the fetal position, watching my Tigers collapse. And yet they still are playing in the playoffs today, within about 2 hours, actually, from the moment we are recording. Very different feel in Detroit this year as opposed to last season when they made the playoffs. Of course, they have one more win this year than they did last year, but it's a very different way to get to the playoffs. But we'll get into that. Really, this show is dedicated to two things. Well, three things, but the playoffs, our NostraDumbAss preseason predictions we made last March. I just watched the whole video. It's a fucking hour-long video of you and I droning on about what was going to happen in this 2025 season. And not much of it was correct. Imagine that. So
go figure.
Yeah, we'll go through all that and give our thoughts about what's happened to all the teams and our predictions. But then we'll wrap up the show with our Badass of the Year nominations. We've done this for the last couple of years. I forget who. I think didn't Luis Robert win the first year? I think Scooble won last year.
Yeah.
We may have a repeat. I have not even really made my decision. I'll let you and I kind of hash it all out, and we'll come up with a consensus. So, for the very illustrious Badass of the Year award. So I think with that, we might as well go ahead and jump into the news. The news is playoffs start today. You and I made our preseason predictions, division winners, wild cards back in March.
Yes.
I think I got 2 out of the 6 division winners correct. I think you blew me out of the water with 3 out of 6 correct. I think we both ended up with 7 out of 12 playoff teams picked correctly, which is kind of amazingly.
That's kind of high for us, I think, right?
Yeah, it might be. That's a bit ironic because I made outrageous wild card predictions just to kind of shake things up because who gives a fuck? But somehow we both ended up quite mediocre. But we'll start with the. I don't know. Should we just start with our? I got to talk about the Tigers.
Whoa! Okay, folks, you got to understand that Smitty announced he was in the fetal position. He has been trying to hide from this podcast for the last 6 weeks.
Hey, I didn't get a whole lot of text messages from you begging to be on this.
The last 2 weeks, I'm like, we're gonna pod this week. You're like, oh, I'm having a bulldozer come out to the home. I'm adding a floor. There's a lot of excuses.
Work.
Yes, this guy has been hiding. Yeah. You know, he's resurfaced, popped out of the sewer, peeked around.
Popped out with my October Ready t-shirt.
Well, that's debatable. That's debatable if they are October Ready based on the last 6 weeks. But
it is September 30th. They may play one game in October. They're guaranteed one game in October tomorrow.
But yeah, go ahead and take it away, buddy.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned in the intro, the Tigers and the whole state of Michigan, city of Detroit are entering these playoffs in a very different mood as how they entered the playoffs last season. Even though the Tigers have one more win on the season, they won 87 games this year. How they got there was brutally different. Tigers came out of nowhere last season after the All-Star break. Really in August, they just went on a crazy tear using pitching chaos, getting just enough run support, not a whole lot of starting pitching because everyone was hurt, and an incredible bullpen. This season, the Tigers were the best team in baseball for the majority of the season. They were 45-25 over their first 70 games. Next 70 games, they were 35-35, exactly 500, but they still had that 20 games over 500 cushion going into September. Unfortunately, they went 7-17. Actually, in their last 22, if you want to do this right, it's 7-15. But they were 7-17 over the span of September, which our friend Bob Nightingale pointed out is the absolute worst September record any team that has made the playoffs has ever had in the history of baseball since the start of the World Series era.
Wow.
So you could parse the numbers other ways. I've seen the 2000 New York Yankees entered 3-13 in their last 16, which is what the Tigers are doing, and they won that World Series. So you can look to that. Of course, that was the end of the tail end of a dynasty that we have not seen the likes of since. Those fucking Yankees teams. Hard to predict that going forward for the Tigers, but I will be watching. I mean, I've been listening to Detroit Sports Talk Radio, all this time, but all morning. People are calling in. They don't even want to watch the game. They're like pissed off they
Wow.
even made the playoffs. I'm like, you are fucking losers. I think they're mainly football fans that got involved in baseball when the Tigers were so good the first half of the season and didn't understand the ebbs and flows, weren't prepared. I guess no one could really be prepared for this swoon. I certainly was not. The the culprits are, familiar to everyone. They're not getting timely hitting and they're getting decent starting pitching, but the bullpen has been nothing like it was last year. It's been frustrating, and they've had chances. The few chances they have, the pitching falls apart in the end. It's just been a confluence of crazy events. Tigers had several, even 2 weeks ago, Tigers had a chance to lock up the division against the Guardians because they had 6 games left against them. And people are talking about, if the Tigers sweep, their magic number will be 0 by the end of 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, they lost 5 of 6 to the Guardians, and they got swept by the Braves in between those two series, which that was a crazy series too. But in both cases, Tigers are getting killed by the number 9 hitters in everyone's lineup, like Rocchio for the Guardians. Nacho Alvarez destroyed the Tigers for the Braves. I mean, who are these people? It reminds me of Marco Scudero, which I just have to bring it up because that this is how I feel about how these things are playing out. Scooble's going today. He has lost his last 2 games against the Guardians, and the 3 biggest last games of Scooble versus the Guardians have not ended well, as he lost Game 5 in the ALDS last year, and then these 2 games. The last game, they were cruising. He was cruising along. Gave up a couple infield hits in the 6th inning, and then accidentally hit David Fry in the face on a bunt attempt. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Okay, that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Uh, Inside pitch, it was just confluence of events again. David Fry was leaned in and crouched down for a bunting attempt. Ball may or may not have grazed off his bat, but it hit him right in the fucking nose, 96 miles an hour, right in the face. And he went down in a bloody mess. Scooble immediately threw his hat off and his glove down when he saw it. He looked visibly ill. And he ended up Fry's okay. He's got a broken nose. It just looked awful and really fucking scary. And Scooble shits the bed after that. Just he tried to pull a Burley at one point where there was another infield hit. Scooble tried to throw to first base between his legs like a long snapper. Of course, that went into he wasn't nearly as good at it as Burley was, and because it went into right field, but. Just a crazy confluence of events. So the only thing I'm hoping for here is the Tigers, have the reset button. They clinched a playoff berth on Saturday in Boston, which is a miracle. They had a chance at still winning the division on Sunday, but didn't really throw out a lineup that was trying to do that because all Cleveland had to do was just win their game, which they did in extra innings, of course. In game 162. So Tigers are playing in Cleveland today instead of playing in Detroit. It sounds like there's a bunch of playoff tickets available in Cleveland, which is kind of odd. I'm wondering if a similar thing would be true in Detroit, just because it's such a sour taste in everyone's mouth. I don't know. It's weird. I'm entering October in a very, very strange way, which I guess are first world problems when you consider neither your White Sox nor your Giants made it. So you've been equally down, maybe in a different way, downtrodden over these last 6 weeks since we last joined you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the Giants. It was funny. I think I text you like at the beginning of the month. I'm like, are these fuckers going to make the playoffs? This is crazy. And then they immediately imploded after I sent that text.
I know.
They just like completely. I think they lost like 7 of 10 or something at that point, or they were 2-8 in their last 10, and it was just like it was over, and rightfully so. Like I don't think Bob Melvin, ever got the job done there like they expected it to happen, and he was let go. And
this morning,
yeah, and
was he there 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, that seems like a pretty quick trigger finger.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe because he was not, maybe it's a Posey thing since Posey wants to bring in his own guy or something. I could see that.
Yeah,
But
they just said they want to go in a different direction, so that would
and
be
it
Posey's direction.
and apparently, like there's a lot of movement. Somehow there's always news, even if it's misery on both sides for my teams. But like the White Sox cleaned house on their coaching staff
This morning.
and surprisingly, everyone's shocked that Ethan Katz is one of the names on that list.
He was let go too? I thought he was held.
No,
Oh,
no,
wow.
Ethan Katz is gone. The thing I'm most surprised at, and maybe he has another coaching opportunity, is Marcus Thames is let go.
Yeah, former Tiger.
Considering when you look at the White Sox offensive improvement from year over year, it is astronomical. One might say.
It's not hard to get better than last year.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a team who, as a team last year, had a Fangraph WAR of -5.7, and this year has a positive 6.1. I mean, like that is crazy ass shit on how pathetic. The record just wasn't bad. The whole team was bad last year.
You're 18 games better this year. You only lost 102.
Yes, if that is the trend, we're looking at like a 500 season next year. So
wow.
Yeah, we're
progress
looking at
is linear every
80,
time.
80, yeah, always. Looking at 81 wins next year, man. Yeah.
That's right, where your Giants ended up, 81 and 81, and it was you had to fire your manager. I think you were right around Giants were right around 500 last year, I think too. So Bob Melvin's basically been 500 in the toughest, arguably the toughest division in baseball, and they just said that's not enough.
Yeah, I think part of it too is like, how you talk about the Tigers, they're one game better than last year, but because they limped into the playoffs
it's perception
versus charge into the playoffs. It's the same thing with the Giants. They charged into the season and were right there and were in first place during this season. They were a few games above the Dodgers at one point and the Padres. I mean, it was like, wow, is this happening again? And then it just all fell apart. I mean, some of it was, obviously injury related, but every team, I mean, it's a rarity nowadays if you have a team who's injury free.
Just look at the Dodgers rotation. How much of that has been out for most of the year, and yet they've figured it out. Of course,
exactly.
Tigers have their injury issues. Cubs have had their injury issues. We've gone quite a while into this show and haven't even mentioned the Cubs, who are our Major League A-Hole's 2025 champions of the regular season, as they finished with a 92-70 record. They did not finish with only 83 wins like they had in the previous 2 seasons. 92 wins. I was kind of amazed by that when I looked at it. I haven't had the bandwidth, honestly, to dealing with the Tigers. I haven't been able to pay too much attention to the Cubs as much as I would. They were out of the division race 2 months ago, basically, because Milwaukee went fucking crazy, which we'll get to. But I don't know. The Cubs, had Kyle Tucker issues, who's just returned last weekend. We'll see what he can accomplish in the playoffs. Cade Horton is now out with a fractured rib simply from throwing the ball. That's a strange story I haven't been able to figure out, but he's got to be out for the playoffs at this point. They just said he's out for this first series, but I don't know how he could return. He'd have to heal and then do rehab assignments and everything else before you just throw him into a playoff game. So I think that's he's not going to be around, but just a strange year. Like in general, normally you'd be celebrating a 92 win ball club, I'm not feeling it that way. I don't know. Do you have any more just general thoughts about Giants or White Sox?
No, no.
I think
Like
we
I
can get
said,
into
like,
our,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say about the White Sox is, as a White Sox fan, I'm finally in a positive
yeah.
headspace about the team. I did go to the game. We went to one more game
Did you?
on September 16th against the Orioles, and they were
Hmm.
getting blown out. It was like 8-2 in the sixth, and it was starting to cool down, and we're like, fuck it, let's just go. We never leave games early. Now they stormed back and ended up losing 8-7, of course, because I left.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately they lost, so that was why we were leaving. So, but it was $5 Tuesday, so I ate a lot of Polishes and had a lot of
Nice.
beers. So yeah,
Very good.
celebrate. But yeah, celebrate. But yeah, things
Should
are looking good today.
we? Yeah, cool. Well, I think we might as well. You've got the list of our NostraDumbAss predictions we made back at the end of March.
Yes.
I think we should go through those and just laugh and talk about what went right, what went wrong. I think I've got them all. I forget how I listed them,
You
but
did them by region. So like we have AL and NL East, and then
okay.
Central, and then West. So
Well, I think we might as well go through the same way we did the original predictions. Start with the East.
yes, and you and I were both hot on the Red Sox to win that division.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, we were close. They made the playoffs, but
Yes.
they did not win the division because the fucking Blue Jays, who I pick almost every year and chose this year that I was not going to be fooled, and they end up winning the division, of course. Same thing
Uh,
happened with Seattle, which we'll get to, but
yeah, I think that's hilarious that the Blue Jays won. We both picked the Blue Jays last year to win it,
did
and
we? Okay.
we're wrong. Yeah. So yeah, good for us.
Mm.
Um, moving now, mine's the funniest one on this one. I don't know why I had any faith in this, but moving over to the NL East, you picked the Philadelphia Phillies. I believe that is
Ding, 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 ding,
accurate.
ding, ding, ding.
I decided there is no way, with all the talent on this team, that the New York Mets would not win that
Oh, the
division.
foolishness of youth.
but not only did they not win the division, they did not even make the fucking playoffs. In equally, probably right up there with what we were talking about. At least both the Cubs and the Tigers make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Mets epically, after like having a pretty hot start to the season, just collapsed and failed to make the playoffs.
I'm being a whiny Tigers fan over here. Well, meanwhile, they're going to be playing here in an hour and a half in the playoffs. I can't imagine being a Mets fan. $340 million payroll. Juan Soto. And you don't make the fucking playoffs. I don't know.
Unbelievable.
What do you do there? Like, I haven't paid too close of attention. Like, what as a fan base? Oh, spend more money here. Like, what you've got, like Milwaukee's old GM there, who's obviously been able to build something really well. Where do you go from here if you're a Mets fan? Other than you're just always going to be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
you gotta feel like there's like a gray cloud over your team in New York. You're the team with the gray cloud.
Yeah, unreal.
All right, let's move over to the Central, where the team we talked about a lot so far today in the AL Central. We were red hot on the Tigers, and we were looking like fucking geniuses all the way through August.
Sure were. They were the first team to 30 wins, 40 wins, 50 wins, 60 wins, 70 wins. They were not the first to 80. And that's where it all fell apart. So they did still have a chance to win the fucking division on the last day of the season. They did not do that. But of course, the Guardians are the team that always sticks in our craw, as you are a AL Central White Sox fan. You've experienced it just as all these Tigers fans have. I just cannot explain the Guardians. They just have a little more clutch hitting. They have a little more pitching, and I feel like they've gotten every blue pit. Every bounce has gone their way. That's just how it happens every fucking year. They're a good team. They just are.
They are a good team.
They only have two hitters though. They have Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan, who are both. I mean, they're Kwan. Ramirez is a Hall of Famer. Kwan would be I feel like Kwan would be a Hall of Famer if he played all his games against the Tigers. He's the best player in the world when he plays the Tigers. But other than that, it's just amazing. We always discount them, similar to the Brewers, which we'll get to also. But
well, I don't discount the Brewers.
You didn't discount the Brewers, but I feel like they're the same organization. They do things just work out for them. They're smart. There's not a ton of talent. They lose talent and they get better. So, what did we have for? Yeah, well, might as well talk about the NL Central.
Well, you wrongly picked the Cubs, and I correctly picked the fucking Milwaukee Brewers, the Brew Crew.
92 wins was not nearly enough for the Cubs to win the division.
Nope. Losers.
That's the one I fell for again. You did not. Nope. You got it. Kudos to you. Ding, 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 ding. Although the Brewers, I mean, we'll get to our playoff predictions when we're through this. I'm not real confident about their chances. I mean, they always flame out in the playoffs. They always make the playoffs, but they always flame out. And I don't think
that's true.
Much different this year. If they spent so much time, destroying everyone in the middle of the season, that's not kind of tailed off a bit here at the end. So they may have come back to earth. Should we move to the West?
Yes, where you went with the formerly managed Bruce Bochy Rangers. He's also not returning as a manager.
That sounded like that was shocking to me too. They just won the World Series 2 years ago. He's 70 now, so he's got to be the oldest manager in baseball. So it sounded like it was a mutual decision. Maybe he's just stepping away, and I don't know. I mean, he got his world championships with 2 different teams and 2 different leagues. So I think his legacy is cemented. I was surprised by. I guess I'm more surprised by Bob Melvin only after 2 years. But yeah, so
I forget. You had the Rangers, and I had, of course, the division champ Seattle Mariners.
That's the other team I always get fooled by. Like, I pick them every year, and at least to make a wild card, but they always flame out. I was blaming they have the longest travel by mileage if you add up all their flights, because Seattle's so fucking far away. So I thought maybe they fade every year just because there's so much travel. They did not. I did not anticipate Cal Raleigh hitting 60 home runs. He's my backup catcher in our fantasy league, which we should do a fantasy minute here.
Now we're good.
I won my 7th or 8th championship this past season.
Most people are thinking of quitting now because all this guy does is win. So
all I do is win, no matter what. I've destroyed my own league by being too good at it. I mean, did you see Cal? I liked Cal Raleigh last year. I thought he'd be a good backup catcher for me. Maybe 20 home runs. I was thinking, but 60 home runs. There's got to be an investigation into what's going on there. That's just nuts. And he kept it up he was consistent the whole season. It wasn't like he had a really good month here or there. It was just all year long. He just kept crushing it.
Is he a torpedo bat guy?
Maybe. That's so funny because, I mean, that was like a week after we did our NostraDumbAss predictions. We had to do a whole thing about torpedo bats. And then I don't know if anyone talked about a torpedo bat after that first weekend.
No, that was about it.
Yankees hit like 20 home runs in the first series. And then, everyone's had we all thought they were cheating. It's like, well, no, everyone's had torpedo bats. Weird. That seems like a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. As baseball is a long season.
NL West, didn't we both?
We both went with the Dodgers. Yeah. Look at us. How smart we are.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Nice work.
The layup one we did. Yeah, we got that one right.
I mean, your Giants flirted with it for a while. It was not as slam dunk season by any means for the Dodgers, as they dealt with a lot of pitching injuries and weirdness. Of course, they always end up where we think, but your Giants were flirting with it. The Padres were an issue, and did make the playoffs, facing the Cubs later on this afternoon. The Diamondbacks were really disappointing, I thought. They almost made a charge at the end, but they did not. I think you and I both had them in the wild card, which we can get to. But that's all I've got for the West.
All right, so let's get into the wild card. So we both correctly picked the Yankees.
That's right. Ding, ding,
I
ding, 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 ding.
yes, you picked the Guardians, so you were right
Yeah,
there.
that game 162 fucked my whole predictions up. God damn it.
I did have another AL Central wildcard team. I thought the Royals, who did look good for portions of time in the season, I thought Bobby Witt Jr. and a healthy year out of old man Johnson behind the plate.
Salvador
Yeah,
Perez.
Perez would be.
AKA Old Man Johnson.
Yeah,
I like that.
old man Perez. That's what my son calls me, old man Johnson.
Okay. I can see
Yeah,
why.
yes. But they had an unceremonious year.
They actually fucked up the whole Tigers collapse narrative because they were in second place. Guardians were 15 and a half games behind the Tigers, but they were in third place on July 9th, it was. So it was confused. It screws up the numbers when you talk about the collapse because they were actually the Royals were actually trailing in second place at the time. So it's confusing. But yeah, they really faded down the stretch. And while the Guardians just couldn't lose for a while. So
Yeah,
that
I mean
explains that.
the White Sox actually won a game in Kansas City finally this year. So it's been like
Wow.
it's been like 2 years. So there
Jesus.
you go. Then we both incorrectly picked. You had the Athletics. You were reaching there. I mean, they definitely played well this year.
They played. They were only five. I just saw it this morning. Looking at the a-hole standings, they were only 5 games behind the Giants when it all ended up. Giants at 81 and 81, 76 wins for the Athletics. I was making that outrageous pick mainly to make sure that you and I didn't have the same picks at the time. Because we've been famous for doing that over the last couple of years and getting annoyed with each other for making the same fucking picks. So
yes,
I wanted to throw a wild card in there. I thought maybe that ridiculous stadium they were playing in, the AAA Sacramento stadium, might be an outrageous home field advantage, forcing other teams, visiting teams to play in a subpar locker room or get ready in a subpar locker room. It did play to be a really bizarre stadium, really homer friendly.
Yes.
I think that hurt the A's pitching staff as much as the visitors, though. So
yeah, I think visitors enjoyed playing against Tampa Bay and against the Athletics this year.
Yeah. At least the Rays, it was an act of God that forced them into a spring training facility. True. The Yankees AAA or whatever it is there in Tampa, where the A's simply chose to fuck up their situation in Oakland, try to move to Vegas. Still not sure if that's happening, but we'll see. While we're speaking of the A's, they all year they've only been called the Athletics. They've had no city affiliation with. However they're mentioned on official MLB channels. But somehow this year they've announced they are going to change out their gold jerseys, which used to have just the A's logo on the chest. They're going to say Sacramento in their familiar script lettering. So
interesting.
They've reversed that. So I guess I can continue to call them the Los Oaklamento A's, but they're going to be embracing Sacramento. Maybe that's a sign that they might be staying in Sacramento for longer than they thought.
I thought you were going to tell me they've already jumped into black and silver jerseys for Raiders for LA.
That was our impromptu aesthetics segment right there.
Las Vegas Athletics. I incorrectly picked for my final wildcard team, the Baltimore Orioles, who I thought was more of an anomaly last year, but now I'm starting to see comparisons to all the talent the White Sox had a few years ago. Next year is the tail of the tape, I think, for that team.
There's so much talent there, but they didn't push it over the top. Like we were talking about the trade deadline last season. The Orioles were rumored to be going after Tarek Skubal. They needed a front end of the rotation pitcher. Yeah. The last piece of the puzzle. They didn't do it, and now we see where they're at.
Yeah, and it's the same thing the White Sox did. They didn't do it. They thought they had enough in-house talent that they didn't need, and they were too afraid to trade it away. And that is exactly what the Orioles are doing. So
we may have seen the exact same scenario happen in Detroit this season, as many are very frustrated with Scott Harris for not going over the top at the trade deadline, and that may have led to their premature demise. But we'll get to that.
All right, let's move over to the NL, where we both incorrectly picked Arizona as a wild card team.
That's right. Yeah, they're very disappointing.
We both you incorrectly picked the Giants. I didn't even have the Giants. Homer Boy didn't even have the Giants in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I went with the Braves, unfortunately.
They got crushed by injuries once again.
Yes. And then finally, Washington for you, which is hilarious.
That was my crazy pick. That was off. That's the worst pick, definitely by far, of NostraDumbAss 25.
And I had the Phillies, who, of course, won the division.
Yeah.
But they are in the playoffs.
So that's how we ended up with, each of us had 7 out of 12 playoff teams picked correctly.
Yeah.
Very different ways, but still end up in the same spot. While we're talking about playoffs, I think we should take a look at the current bracket.
All right.
And maybe go ahead and make our predictions from there. Right.
Let's do it left to right. So we'll start on the American side of the bracket.
Okay, I've got this pulled up here. And I feel like maybe once they went to 3 wild cards, they've changed this, but didn't they used to reseed in the playoffs? So you couldn't really have a bracket like this where you could pick out. I just don't remember being able to do this until recently. So maybe I'm wrong.
You can't reseed until you could never.
There's no reseeding at all. That's the only way you can do a bracket.
Oh right, yeah.
I just thought they used to reseed, but
yeah, you would think in the ALCS they would reseed, because you could never reseed 1 and 2 because they're always going to be the home team. But once you got to the ALCS, you could.
So I think that's a product of when they expanded the wild card. So
yeah,
we didn't do it this way last year, but now we can. They've set it up so we can do a bracket challenge. Let's challenge each other then, I guess.
Well, let's just, we can declare the AL is 2 of the most boring playoff matches you could ask for. Not interesting at all. We've seen these 2 teams play each other a lot this year already, and we get to watch
all 4
the Tigers and Guardians square off, and the Red Sox and Yankees square off.
Well, if you're bored with it, I'm traumatized by it. I've watched it 6 times over the last 2 weeks, and it's not been fun at all. I do not see the Tigers winning this series, even though they have the best pitcher in the world, Tarek Skubal, going today. Somebody pointed out that as brutal as this season has been, it would make sense for them to win today. And I heard the stat this morning that there's been 12 this new wild card format, 3-game series, 12 series in total. Whoever wins game 1 has won all 12 of those series. So I could see the Tigers actually winning game 1 and then losing the next 2 games in Cleveland and being the first team not to win a wild card series. So
you're not feeling 84 magic, because you've got the Cubs against the Padres on the one side and the Tigers in the playoffs.
Yeah,
this is like 1984 all over again, Smitty. And who won the World Series in 1984?
That would be my Detroit Tigers. The last time they won a World Series, in fact. I was 11 years old. Boy. I'm also doing the emotional hedge. I'm picking the Guardians to win, hoping that I'm completely wrong, and I'll just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride from there. But I'm picking the Guardians to win.
Well, I, like you in this one, because of how the last few weeks have gone, I can't help but pick the Guardians to win, as much as that pains me.
They're just they do this. They're similar teams. They just do everything a little bit better than the Tigers. And that's just how it's worked out. We've got more timely hitting, better bullpen, better starting pitching depth. It's the timely hitting that's the key to all this. The Tigers could snap out of it. They give it a fucking hit and with runners in scoring position finally. But you just don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the East, you've got the Red Sox against the Yankees.
Yeah, this is literally another division series in the wild card round. Yeah, Yankees, Red Sox. Oh, have you seen that one before?
Yeah, it's on national TV every time they play, so we have.
Ugh. I mean, we both picked the Red Sox to win the division. I think I had them going to the World Series.
We both did, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we both have to pick the Red Sox to beat the Yankees.
Well, we don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick the Yankees to beat the Red Sox.
Okay.
I think old Judgy there, and I think there's too much firepower for Boston to keep them at bay. It'll be interesting to see how like Garrett Crochet reacts to a playoff appearance and stuff like that. So
it's in New York, correct?
Yeah, it's in New York too. So
well, I think Garrett Crochet, you just mentioned, is the secret weapon. I think he's gonna cruise tonight. He's arguably I think he's gonna win the Cy Young. By the way, over Turk Skubal, who were both on my fantasy teams by the end of the year, which may have helped my 7th or 8th championship, whatever that was. But thank you, by the way, for trading Skubal to me mid-season for Rafael Devers.
That's right.
I think the Red Sox pitching might be better. I think that's why I'm going to pick them.
All right. Do you want to just stay on this side and go all the way to the?
No, let's go to.
All right.
Yeah, let's go to what's in front of us today and tomorrow.
All right. So on the other side, on the right side of the bracket, you've got the Reds against the Dodgers, which just sounds hilarious.
How did the Reds get in the fucking playoffs? Like I have not been paying attention to them at all. And all
they were
fighting Franconas. They're in the playoffs.
Red hot. I will say it's got to be the Terry Francona factor. I mean, that guy's just world class, man.
He's a fucking genius.
And then of course,
and a great guy by all accounts.
The aforementioned Padres Cubs rematch from 1984. Wow.
So we're just skipping right over we're just assuming the Dodgers are going to crush the Reds.
I was just setting them up.
Okay.
Like I did the same thing on the other side. But I am just going to say the Dodgers are winning easily in straight.
Yeah, I think it'll be over tomorrow or whenever they play the second game.
I predict in game 1, Ellie De La Cruz will try to make a magnificent play and throw the ball into right field. So,
oh, no. That would be sad. Hopefully. It'd be fun if they could make it interesting. But, yeah, I don't think that's going to be one I'm staying up late for.
I think the next series could be far more interesting.
I think it's by far the most interesting series, at least for this podcast. The Cubs versus the San Diego Padres. I admire the Padres from afar. They always go for it. Their AJ Preller, their GM, makes outrageous trades, outrageous free agent signings. Their owner spends all the money. They've got like 2 different owners because one passed away a couple years ago. But they squeeze into the playoffs. They're coming to Chicago to play the Cubs, who have in any other season they'd be celebrated as NL Central division winners. But now when you have the fucking Brewers going nuts. Cubs are good. They're kind of overshadowed. They've been quietly good. They're just a solid team. I think the Cade Horton injury is going to be a really key factor to this, as it's really depleted their rotation. He's been potentially a rookie of the year, maybe the best pitcher in the National League in his time. His innings are not high enough to qualify, but that's a devastating injury that I think I would have had the Cubs sweeping if not for that injury. But I am still going to have the Cubs winning in 3 games. It's going to be a tense 3-game series in Wrigley Field.
All right. Well, we've got the wind blowing in today. I can confirm that for you already.
That's going to help Matthew Boyd. Thank you. That's a key factor.
That is going to help Matthew Boyd, but I don't have really I know he's been like the workhorse down the stretch, but Matthew Boyd, I just don't believe in Matthew Boyd in the playoffs. I'm going with the Padres in 4.
There's only 3 games.
I mean the Padres in 2, and
sweep.
Yeah, Padres in 2 at Wrigley. And
you don't trust Shota Imanaga tomorrow?
No. Did you see his last performance?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. All right.
So Padres in 2. That
feels like a spite. Feels like a spite.
That's a spite pick, folks.
From
I actually
hell's
got the
heart, I
Padres.
step at thee.
Oddly enough, I have the Padres in 4. So
That's going to be a wild series.
Freudian slip there. I got
I like
confused
that.
for a second.
It would have been really spiteful. Just said Padres in 1.
You have to.
They only need 1 win.
You have to
Fuck the
understand,
Cubs.
everyone. I'm not familiar with this new playoff format with any of my teams. So
it is quite vexing if you haven't been a part of it.
I don't know. For some reason, I still thought it was 5 in this one. Okay, anyway, all right.
Next
We're gonna
series.
get next series. 5 games. Should we go
Division
back to
series?
the ALDS? We both got the Guardians against the Mariners.
Yes. So I'm gonna go. I gotta go Mariners because Cal Raleigh's gonna have 7 home runs in 2 games probably. So
yeah,
that's a 5-game series. You got to win 3 in the division round.
Thank you. Wait, you don't have to just win 1?
No, more than 1.
First 1 to 1 wins. Let's go. I'm
also how it used to be.
I'm going with the Mariners also in this one. I think
All right.
The thing about the Mariners too, and that the reason I picked them is like they have really solid starting pitching, and
yeah,
it kind of went under the radar, and I feel like all the way through the end of the season. But like Woo's a beast. They made solid, quiet moves in the offseason to supplement what was already a pretty good team that just fell short last year. So, yeah, Mariners for sure. And then you've got the Red Sox against our former favorite pick to win the AL East, Blue Jays, and I've got the Evil Empire against the Blue Jays.
I've got Boston going to the eventually going to the World Series. So I've got them beating the Blue Jays because I didn't believe in them going in. They got it done somehow, and I think that maybe this layoff, maybe the dreaded 5-day layoff will crush their momentum.
Yeah, with the Blue Jays playing the Yankees, I think the Blue Jays have the advantage over the Yankees in this case, so I'm going with the Blue Jays in 4.
Okay.
All right, moving to the other side of the bracket. I think this is a compelling matchup. We both picked Dodgers against the Phillies.
Yeah, those are 2 juggernauts facing off. I think it's going to be home field advantage to the Phillies.
Correct.
So that's an interesting dynamic there. I'd love to see, I don't like the Phillies, but I'd love to see anybody beat the Dodgers. I think this is the best chance. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Phillies in 5.
All right. I am, unfortunately, for boring sake for this podcast, I am going the same way. Phillies in 5. That's what I thought too.
Let's hope. We're wishing.
Yes. Now we move over to the other side of the bracket where we've got I've got the Padres against the Brew Crew, and you've got the
grudge match.
Revenge
chance tour.
No chance Cubs against the Brew Crew.
The Cubs will get revenge on the Brew Crew and sweep them out of the playoffs, is my prediction. They will win in 3 games.
Well, seeing as the Cubs aren't even going to be there to play it, I'm still also, I think this is a Brewers team even more magical than other years past. So
magical. Wow.
I have the Brewers in 4 over the Padres.
The levels of magic. I didn't know they're more or less magical.
It's more magical. It's even, there's more.
I like
I
that.
This
is great analysis.
Yeah. There's something about this team. They got a little. They got something going on there.
I feel like they lost their momentum. That's where.
Well, they're gonna get that voodoo back. They're gonna have some beer brats, Oktoberfest. They're gonna.
Maybe that's what it is. Beer. They're based on brewing and brats. Like I always said, if I like moved here from another country, knew nothing about baseball, and just saw a team was called the Brewers, I'd have to root for them. Like how cool is that?
I know. I know. I've talked with you off the air. I think I don't think we did it on the podcast, but I'm thinking maybe just maybe we next season I do love them. I may just put the West Coast aside and start covering the Brewers on this.
Keep it a completely Midwest podcast. That might be good for our branding, good for our audience. Potentially might be a division down the road, which our next show, whenever that is, I want to talk about expansion and realignment that was mentioned last month. A lot of articles written about that. And of course, I bring that up every 5 years or so. It's come up in the news this time. So there's a potential, at least in my wildest dreams, to have the Tigers, Cubs, White Sox, and Brewers all in one division together.
I mean, the beauty
How
of
cool
that
would that
is
be?
it would be so cool, especially for this podcast, because then it's just straight up trash talk. Like it's legit.
Perfect.
You're facing off all the time. It's not like 2 3-game series or 2 2-game series or some shit like that. It is like playing for the fucking division. You have full on bragging rights. It's great. So
yeah, they're talking about cutting costs and realignment and everything. Well, I mean, every team is within 2 hours of each other, basically, or like an hour flight. It would make sense. I think it'd be a blast. But we'll get into that next week or next time.
All right.
So now we are to the championship series.
Yes, you've got Seattle against the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And I've got Seattle against the Blue Jays. Well, I know where you're going with this.
I got Boston in 6. They do not have home field advantage in that, but they will clinch it in game 6 in Fenway.
I've got Seattle in 5.
Oh, wow. Seattle to the World Series.
Over the Blue Jays.
Oh, my God. What a boring Seattle versus Toronto.
Well, I can't help the way it's going to play out. Sorry.
Would you be looking forward to that?
Sorry for being right. Sorry to bore you with my correct picks.
Oh, God. I'm not even sure I'd watch that.
Tune in.
All right.
Just to see my predictions come to life.
What do we have on the National League side?
We both have the Phillies, but you have them playing the Cubs.
Oh,
which would be slaughter in 4. And I have them playing the Brewers.
You're predicting my prediction. Okay. You've got what?
Sorry. I have the Phillies playing the Brewers. So
who do you have winning that?
I'm going. Oh, can you give me a second on that one? I gotta think about that one.
Well, I'm going with the Phillies to beat the Cubs.
Well, that's for sure.
Cubs will get revenge and then fall flat after that. I'm going to have Phillies in 5 over the Cubs.
Will Kyle Schwarber hit 2 home runs in every game of that series?
He most likely will. That's probably on the low end. I'll take the over on that.
That would be just to see the Phillies against the Cubs, just to watch Kyle Schwarber destroy the ball against his former team, who didn't think they deserve it. Wasn't good enough to keep on the team. The one guy you and I both kind of were like, I think I'd probably keep Schwarber out of everyone, but oh well, we were not right on that. We were right on that apparently, but the Cubs did not see it that way. I'm gonna have to say the Brewers' magic does run out against the Phillies.
So they have less magic than they had in the previous.
The voodoo runs out, and the
voodoo works in mysterious ways.
It does, and it's going to be the most tedious travel World Series. It's going to be the Mariners against the Phillies. So enjoy that, boys.
What a weird matchup. That's crazy. So I've got the Red Sox versus the Phillies.
That's a lot easier on the travel costs.
Yeah, I'd say the flights will be much shorter. So another East Coast World Series for me. I've got the Red Sox winning in 6 over the Philadelphia Phillies.
So I really don't have any love for Philly, but for some reason, that's more of a football thing. The Philadelphia Phillies, I don't know. They've never really annoyed me as a team.
They're kind of just Philadelphia in general is kind of a gross. Fan base is famously asshole-ish. And we should probably embrace that. But
I don't want the fans of Philly to have a championship. However, I just think the firepower on that team. I know you got Cal Rowley on the Mariner side of things, but I'm gonna have to go Phillies in 6.
All right. Well, I've been able to stick with my World Series prediction from the beginning of the series, beginning of the season. World Series winner, at least, the Boston Red Sox, which I'm probably just picking them only because I picked them to start the season. So I'm not sure they have the firepower, but you never know what's going to happen in October.
All right. Should we get to our asshole of the year?
No, that's not this show.
I mean, our badass of the year.
Well, do we want to talk about rookie of the year or our Cy Young picks and all that we did? Because that's all
Well,
based on the regular season, so we could do that now.
yeah, we won't know that till what, after the playoffs?
I think we kind of know if our picks are way off.
Well, you have Alex Bregman for the AL.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time on the IL.
Yeah.
But he had gotten off to a great start. Hasn't done a whole lot in the second half after coming back from injury, so that kind of derailed his MVP attempt.
I had Bobby Witt Jr., who had an okay season, but
yeah, he had a down season for him, but he had like a 900 OPS and 40 steals or whatever he ended up with. But yeah, it was a down year for him somehow, but just not quite up to his typical MVP status.
I mean, it's probably going to be Cal Raleigh, but
or Aaron Judge.
Or Aaron Judge,
that's the argument. But Cal Raleigh's got like 10 more home runs than he is from the catcher position. I think it's hilarious that Judge might not win it. I would vote for Raleigh.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's who it's probably going to be, but we'll see. NL, you had Kyle Tucker.
Who was on a trajectory until he had multiple injuries, the latest of which is a calf issue, which has been leading to Achilles injuries in the past. So that's a little concerning. He finally came back on Friday and is not running at all. He is swinging the bat.
Sounds like the White Sox.
Yeah. He had a fractured wrist or a fractured finger or something in June that they did not put him on the IL for 3 or 4 weeks, which brings into question, like, is he just trying to play through pain because he's a badass, or is he trying to keep boosting up his numbers so he can get a $500 million contract next year, which I don't think is going to happen now. He ended up with 22 home runs, I think. Just basically because he didn't play and he was hurt half the time. So when he is healthy, he's incredible, but what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, he was looking like we were talking about. They got to sign him to an extended contract or it's a bust. So
it's a bust. I mean, if
they don't win, if
they don't make the World Series, which neither of us predicted, it's a failure.
And then I had some guy named Shohei Ohtani, so I'm feeling somewhat
That's a pretty good one.
It's pretty positive on that one. I might be right on that
one. I was predicting an early season injury for Ohtani, which is rude and asshole-ish. So I will be asshole of the year if we want to make that up. But
the year you won with him as AL MVP, I didn't pick him because I picked him to have an injury that year.
Okay, so we're both assholes. So this podcast is aptly named.
Yes,
we are the Major League A-holes.
All right, let's get to Cy Young, which I think you and I are both going to be right in the AL. Ex-White Sox Garrett Crochet is both of our picks for AL Cy Young, and
Scooble's right there, but just he hasn't been as dominant in the second half. He started out the first half of the season. He was actually on a better pace than he was in his Cy Young season last year.
He was, yes.
It's not that he's been bad. I think I've got his ERA down. It's like 2.21 or something. I don't have all of Crochet's numbers.
2.21,
I think we're going to be right about Crochet.
And then NL, I think we're probably both off on that one. You got Paul Skeens, who kind of had like an up and down year.
He's got to end of the season with a 1.97 ERA. He's winning the fucking Cy Young.
That is an up and down year. And then I had Blake Snell, who is not going to be anywhere near that. So yeah, you probably got the Cy Young.
I think I got the Cy Youngs.
Yeah, I was joking around about Paul Skeens.
Blake Snell would have had his third Cy Young if you were correct, which is just amazing to me because I don't think he's all that great.
But somehow he is. It's weird. Yeah, I know. I agree. He's kind of like you just don't. He's sneaky.
He is sneaky.
All right, rookies of the year. I know I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, this is tough.
You have Roman Anthony, and I had Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, Holiday. That was a good pick. That I think he should have had a better year. He was on my fantasy team for quite a while. I think I ended up dumping him, but he just played all season. So I thought that ended up being a good pick for you. I don't even know who's going to win the Rookie of the Year at this point. I haven't paid too close of attention.
Yeah. And then in the NL, we both had Dylan Cruz.
Yeah. I haven't heard much about him all season, but
yeah, for those of you, he is playing Major League Baseball, or was Dylan Cruz, for those of you who don't know.
Well, I think in the AL, it's going to be one of the fucking A's. It's going to be Nick Kurtz.
Oh, it's got to be Nick Kurtz.
I mean, his numbers, he might even be badass of the year. I've got him on the nomination list.
It just depends on, I think he's going to win over, like, he'd win over Colson Montgomery because he's played all season, basically, Nick Kurtz. He came up like in the second week of the year.
Yeah, Montgomery would definitely be in the running. He didn't come up until July 4th, I think. So
yeah, and
if he had more at bats.
Yeah, he only had 255 at bats.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. We talked about it last show, and I actually wrote about it. The batting camp experiment is the best thing that's ever happened to the White Sox, or to batters, apparently, because Colson Montgomery is ridiculous down the stretch. So
yeah,
congratulations on that. I think Cade Horton had a shot at being NL Rookie of the Year based on his performance before he was injured. I don't think he has enough innings to qualify necessarily. Maybe he does, but I don't even know who else might win it in the National League. Who did you have?
We both had Dylan Cruz, so I don't know.
Okay.
All right. Now it's time for not our asshole of the year, excuse me, our badass of the year.
Badass of the year. We will do asshole of the year. We usually do that between Christmas and New Year, like something to do in the dark months. But badass of the year, we go through. We have badass of the week, mostly every week throughout the season. Just quantifying players on the 5 teams we cover, maybe 4 teams that we're covering next year. That's interesting to me. So we just compiled all the stats and took a look. I looked at WAR, I looked at home runs, looked at RBI, runs, OPS, stolen bases, and then we also have our pitchers. We're going to throw everything. We have a badass of the week pitcher, badass of the week hitter. I think we're just going to have one badass of the year to rule them all.
Yeah,
because there's basically really only two pitchers that really qualify to be on the badass nomination list. So I listed everything in WAR order. I don't know, and I didn't really make a decision before I sent you that list. I think we can hash this out. I don't know. Did you have an ultimate badass of the year in mind, or are you in the same boat as me? We're gonna talk this out and figure it out.
Yeah, I think we need to talk it out and figure it out. There's some different.
Let's start at the bottom of the hitters list, at least.
Okay, so we've got Colson Montgomery, who, as you pointed out, came up at around July 4th. Didn't hit his first home run until July 22nd.
And then
21 home runs, 43 runs, 55 RBIs, 840 OPS, and a 3.3 WAR.
Extrapolate that for a full season.
I did.
Not guaranteed, but
I did 600. I extrapolated it for 600 at bats.
Okay? Oh my God.
It was 48 home runs and 143 RBIs.
Wow.
Yeah. So and I think the WAR ends up at around 10 something also. So
okay. Yeah. That would definitely be qualified for badass of the year.
Yeah. I think you have to take the stats as is, though. You can't. We've done this before, and it seems it never comes out that way. I think we extrapolated also one. When the Sox were always getting injured, what if they played 162 games and everyone was hitting 48 home runs? So there's I can't. As much as I'd be like, "Fuck you," it's Colson Montgomery. Like, the stats are the stats.
Yeah. Next year. He's got a shot next year.
Yeah, he's got a shot next year.
Could be his time.
It could be.
Be patient.
I am patient. I'm not dying on a sword. I'm not dying on a sword for Colson Montgomery on this one. But I think it's worth saying, like, he is legit. Probably better than Tim Anderson, folks. I mean, and there you go. Here's a guy I love watching play the fucking outfield and hit. Riley Green, 36 home runs, 84 runs, 111 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 806 OPS. Somehow his WAR's 2.1. Is that an off defensive issue?
Yeah,
Or?
it's weird. Yeah, it might be base running. Plus, he's a good defender, but
Yeah, that's what I
occasionally
thought.
there's some issues. So yeah, that's what WAR is confounding. This is most of the time I think it follows the way I view how good a player is. This is a little bit low. Green has most of the Tigers bats has been in a big slump over the last month or so. So it's kind of tainted, even though he did put up massive numbers. He's like the best homegrown Tiger in like 40 years. The stat came, the first one to have 30 home runs and 100 RBI that came through the Tigers system, which is kind of amazing. So yeah, the OPS is or the WAR is kind of lowering his overall value a little bit, but yeah, the numbers look good.
All right. Let's talk about the baby-faced assassin, Rafael Devers, who hit about half his home runs with Boston and half of them with the Giants. 35 home runs, 99 runs, 109 RBIs. He actually had a stolen base, 851 OPS, and a 4 WAR. Must have been his strong defensive skills at first base, as he highlighted for the Giants.
Well, I think the Giants got everything they bargained for out of him.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a disappointment. It took him a while to get going. I remember the first couple of weeks it was a struggle, but obviously he put the numbers together. That's amazing that he was about to say. I thought maybe the Fenway Park versus Oracle Park would be a big factor, but apparently not.
Yeah, I think he's a great chip to build around.
Yeah, you've got him for the upcoming season. 10 more years or whatever it is now.
Yes. This is what I'm going to call. I think the next two are kind of surprise names on this list, and shockingly, but a fun player to watch. Michael Busch, 34 homers, 78 runs, 90 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, an 866 OPS, and a 4.5 WAR. Apparently, Jed Hoyer knew he didn't need any more offense because Michael Busch was going to have a career year.
Yeah, really, Busch put up the numbers that I thought Kyle Tucker would put up. And it's kind of amazing that they had that option to have Michael Busch. He just kind of came out of nowhere. Like he was solid last year as a rookie, a 27-year-old rookie, but yeah, he definitely took the next step. And
I mean, what if you guys had Cody Bellinger too?
We can't have that many good players.
Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, Michael Busch, and Cody Bellinger has the same year he's had with the Yankees. Oh my God. You would have won a division, probably.
No, it's going to be too hard to find a place for him to play.
Meanwhile, you're going to get swept out of the first round of the playoffs. Anyway, moving along. This guy. Okay, I got to make fun of myself for. We're going to have another fantasy minute. So, the minute Nick Kurtz came into the league, I pulled him, and I had him on my team for about 2.5 weeks.
And then you dumped him?
And I dumped him because I was trying to fight.
You may have just lost your MVP status.
Maybe. I dropped Nick Kurtz.
Terrible.
And then I forget, did Canopic pick him up, I think?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe. He
didn't pay much attention to what you guys were doing down there.
He ended up going on to 35 home runs, 90 runs, 86 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. His OPS as a rookie, 1,002.
Yeah.
5.4 WAR. This dude is he's legit, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we do a Major League A-holes Rookie of the Year, he wins it hands down.
Yeah, no doubt.
That OPS is unbelievable. And you don't hear about him because he's in Sacramento. It's just amazing. I did not see it coming. I don't know if you didn't see it coming. You saw it for 2 weeks, and then you didn't. I
didn't like the results. I'm like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, he's on the verge of being badass of the year. I think there's an argument for it. What was his WAR again?
5.4.
Good Lord.
All right. And then the highest WAR on our list goes to PCA. He's got 31 homers, 91 runs, 95 RBIs, 35 stolen bases. His OPS is the lowest on this list at 768.
Yeah.
But 6 WAR, but he's probably, when you look at this list, he's the most rounded, he's the 5-tool guy on this list.
You could argue he's the best center fielder in baseball, or at least in the top 3. Base running, obviously, he blows everybody out of the water with the steals and still has 31 home runs. He had like 27 home runs at the All-Star break, though.
Yes.
So imagine if he put 2 halves together.
Yes.
Like if you want to extrapolate that the way you did with Colson Montgomery. Did you do the numbers for that?
No, but it would be about 54 home runs. So
yeah,
do the quick math there. Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. I think if you look at, he's still got the best WAR of all the position players, even having a subpar second half. It's just amazing. But 30, he's the first Cub since Sosa to have 30 home runs, 30 doubles, and 30 stolen bases. So puts him in rarefied air. I don't believe that PCA is on steroids, although we might find out that everyone's been on steroids this whole time. Might explain Cal Raleigh. So maybe in 10 years we'll be regretting all this, but I don't think so at this point. PCA, if PCA could put a whole season together, he is not just badass of the year. He's a league MVP easily.
Yeah, for sure.
So you want to talk about the 2 pitchers we put on the list? The only really qualifying badass pitchers we had.
Yeah, we've got Logan Webb. He had a 3.22 ERA from the Giants, 1.237 WHIP, 224 strikeouts, 22 quality starts, accumulated a 3.9 WAR, and Smitty threw this in. He's the first Giant to lead the NL in innings pitched and K since 1944.
Yeah, which you've had quite a bevy of pitchers over that time. So
yeah, that's crazy.
You were in New York back then.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that somewhere along the way, Mad Bum or Kane or someone like that wasn't in this conversation.
Timmy.
Timmy Lincecum. And then we've got
Logan Webb's ERA is what kind of fucked him up. Like not that 3.21 is bad, but it doesn't put him in badass of the year or Cy Young territory, I guess. But.
Right, his whip's a little high too.
Okay, yeah, I missed the
1.237. So.
Yeah, but he put up the fucking strikeouts, man.
He did. But who put up even more strikeouts and better in every category is Tarek Skubal, 2.21 ERA, subpar 1 WHIP at 8.91, 244 Ks, 20 more than Webb. 1 less quality start though, so he's out at 21. And then
by the way, a cautionary tale. When I was first pulling up whatever I was on, I got all the stats from either MLB.com or ESPN or Baseball Reference. They didn't have quality starts readily available. So I just spoke into my phone and trusted Google's artificial intelligence to tell me how many quality starts Logan Webb had this year. And it said 33 quality starts.
There you go. He's a landslide victory now.
I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So fortunately I did more research, did not trust the artificial intelligence, and learned that he had only 22 quality starts. So I don't know where the fuck it came up with 33 quality starts. Like, artificial intelligence doesn't even know what a quality start is. Don't trust it, kids.
Yes, don't trust it for sure. Always double check it.
Yes.
And then Skubal had a 6.6 WAR. So, I mean, they're both solid years, obviously, but Skubal's is by far
quantifiably better. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but it's funny because I wanted to put in Matt Boyd, or I wanted to throw in more pitchers from what we've got, but those two are so far ahead of everybody else's numbers. And I think Skubal is still head and shoulders above Webb. So
yeah.
And he's got the highest WAR of anyone on the list. Although we're leaning on WAR, pitching WAR versus position player WAR might as well be completely different stats. And it's kind of unfair to use those, compare them to each other. But
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's tough it's tough between PCA and Kurtz. Those are, I mean, those are tough, but I lean towards PCA just because he's providing 5. He is the prototype 5-tool plawer. And
there's no deficiencies except for his OPS, which is weird considering he still had 31 home runs. It's not like he's not like a slap hitting center fielder.
No, right.
So I think I gotta go with PCA.
Yeah, I do too, just because it's rounded. It's just he's performing at every level. So
we're going to take him over Scooble for the ultimate badass of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to go offensive player this year. We're going to go PCA for badass of the year.
I think if we were doing the show tomorrow and Scooble had just shut out in a complete game shutout of the Guardians this afternoon, I might have changed my tune a little bit, but we are not in the future yet. We are still here in the present. And I think
Doc Brown.
I think it's kind of cool. Like we gave Scooble badass of the year last year, well deserved. I think he was a little bit less so this year, so I think it makes sense to give it to somebody else. And I think PCA is taking that throne.
All right, so congrats to PCA. Too bad you're not going to do anything in the playoffs, but enjoy the regular season badass of the year.
They just need a little more or less magic. More magic?
No, they need more magic. They need some
more or less magic.
They need some Van Halen Me-Wise magic, but they don't have it. Milwaukee's got the Me-Wise magic, but it's only slated to run through mid-October.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. There's an expiration date.
There's an expiration date on the magic.
Well, good to be back in the saddle again. Good to be talking baseball with you again. I think we'll at least, I mean, if the Tigers or Cubs move on, God, you probably don't want to talk about that. I've got subjects we can talk about besides just the playoffs. Like I want to talk about expansion. That could be a subject of the next show. So we'll figure out when it makes sense to do our next episode.
Yeah.
Until then, you can find us on social media at Major League A-Holes. You can find us on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. We lost 1 subscriber this week because we didn't do a video in 6 weeks. So we got to get back up there and do videos.
God damn it.
We're up to 331 subscribers. We were at 332 at one point. So I'm very disappointed in us. You can find us on the web at majorleagueaholes.com, and you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I think we can declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.